welcome y'all, if y'all didn't know, to the one and only Guest Chef Night. And I want you to know that you are in the right place, okay? I'm about to get some cooking on. I'm about to learn some new things, try some new things. I know you're excited, because I'm excited too. And if y'all have any leftovers, send them my way. I will be happy to take it and try it, you know. It's gonna be a taste test over here. Guest Chef Night. That's right. Nicole, where are we at? Oh, is that right? Wait, where are we at? Well, I think I got that, but tell me one more time. Guest Chef Night. Guest Chef Night.
Hey everybody, this is Harry. Happy Guest Chef Night. I'm sad we're not all together, but isn't that so cool that you get to do it and be with Chef Martha Wiggins, of all people? Y'all enjoy your meal, and see you soon.
Good evening, everyone. I hope that you're all doing well tonight. I want to say thank you and welcome you to our very first virtual Guest Chef Night dinner featuring the talented Chef Martha Wiggins. Things look a little different these days here at Liberty's Kitchen. Since we've suspended our programming in mid-March, our programs team has pivoted, directly responding to the needs of our youth. Their biggest concern was access to fresh, affordable fruits and vegetables. So with our partner, Top Box Foods, we have been able to deliver fresh grocery boxes to about 20 young people a week since the end of March. I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to Chef Martha Wiggins, who jumped at the chance to support tonight's dinner. Martha has consistently donated her time and her talents to past events and is always up for collaborating with us. I'd also like to thank our very own Liberty's Kitchen graduate, Kiall Wilson, who will be featured during tonight's dinner to help walk through the preparation of this incredible meal. Thank you for joining with us, Kiall. Another big thank you goes out to Turning Tables Program Director, Teray Folks, and Liberty's Kitchen graduate, Andryan Lagarde, as well as River Basin Distillery and Jägermeister for tonight's cocktail creation and demonstration. I want to thank the Liberty's Kitchen team, specifically our marketing associate, Mary Rockwell, for putting together all the details around this first of its kind virtual Guest Chef Night dinner. And last but not least, I want to thank you, our supporters near and far. We cannot do this work without you. And now more than ever, on behalf of Liberty's Kitchen and in service to our youth, I want to thank you for your support in the past and now, at a time when we need you most. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of Top Box Foods, Connor Deloche.
Has had to adapt and change and evolve to what is the new normal. And I could not be more happy that the new normal does not mean no more Guest Chef Night, because as we all know, Guest Chef Night has come to be one of those things that we all look forward to every month. So thank you all for being here. Not to get too corny, I don't want to eat up too much of your time, so I'm going to be very brief. But Top Box Foods, if you aren't familiar, is an organization that focuses on food accessibility and basically making sure that anybody, regardless of age, race, income, background, zip code, has access to fresh and healthy food, which, as we know, is a vital part to daily life. I'm going to give you two quick facts relating to COVID so far. Since the beginning of COVID, Top Box Foods has delivered to over 8,000 households throughout New Orleans and roughly 15,000 boxes of fresh groceries. And I say this not to brag on myself or my team, though I am incredibly proud of the work that we've done, but to thank Liberty's Kitchen for their ongoing support and generosity in letting us utilize their space and truly welcoming us into Liberty's Kitchen as family. We view Liberty's Kitchen and the entire team as a family, and everything that we've done thus far, including getting you the box that you used for your meal tonight, we owe it all to Liberty's Kitchen. So thank you to everybody on the Liberty's Kitchen team. And I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to who you all came here for, Chef Kiall Wilson, my good friend and LK alum, and Chef Martha Wiggins of Elysian Bar, longtime LK supporter. Thank you guys for being here and running the show tonight. Have a great guest chef night, everybody.
Hi guys. Kyle, are you there? Can you hear me? Cool. Kyle, are you there? I'm supposed to be able to hear Kyle.
I'm actually using my iPhone. My godmother's in the kitchen on my laptop.
I see you got two screens going at once.
Yes, ma'am.
So hi, I'm Martha Wiggins of the Elysian Bar. And thank you guys for joining. This is really weird, but I'm weird, so naturally I jumped at the chance to do this. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Top Box and Liberty Kitchen. I love you guys. Kyle and I actually just got to do our first demo the other day with Minnow Foundation, so we had a little practice. Kyle is my favorite, and a Liberty Kitchen alumni, and now a Minnow Foundation alumni. And he's going to be hosting and asking questions. If you have questions, Kyle will kind of relay them to me, and so on and so forth. Kyle, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Of course, my name is Kiall Wilson. I am a 2015 graduate of Liberty's Kitchen program, 2019 recipient of the Minnow Foundation Scholarship to go to New York and attend ICC, where I'm a 2020 graduate this year of ICC's culinary program. And I've had the great pleasure of meeting Chef Martha Wiggins last year on my interview for the scholarship. And since then, I have gained another powerful and wise mentor to train me and show me the path that is correct for chefs.
Oh, that is very flattering and sweet, Kyle. It's been my pleasure, and I've learned a lot from you too. Let's get into what we're doing today. So we're going to be making some Pan Seared Redfish, which is a Gulf, Louisiana favorite, with some curried spring vegetables. Those are okra, tomatoes, and mustard greens. Crispy new potatoes. All these things are in season right now here. And green garlic butter. It's going to be kind of like a green garlic brown butter. So first, let's just go over what we have real quick. If you want to pan down a little towards this ingredients. One thing I wanted to discuss is, so what is green garlic? Also known as spring garlic or baby garlic, in your top box if you got it, or if you see it. A lot of times, so what we have here is actually a little bit more mature for green garlic. So if you got this in your box, you're going to find that the bulb has started to form on the end. So the top part is going to get a little more fibrous as this bulb starts to grow. And then eventually you'll get like, what you're used to seeing, which is still, it hasn't formed that fibrous, and there's individual cloves in here. But usually when we get it, when it's green garlic, the stem and the bulb is kind of one width all the way through. So again, the stuff we have in here is a little fibrous, so I'm going to stick to the very top of this and slice it very thin to ensure that it's not unpleasant to eat as far as the texture. So then we have, and honestly, if you got this box, there's really enough in here for 2 of these meals, and I think our goal was to do 2 meals for or to do one meal for 2 people, or to kind of feed 2, but there's really enough in here for 4, honestly, depending on how hungry you are. So what we have all day is we have okra, which I sliced just into rounds, tomatoes, just large dice. These are the new potatoes, and new potato is just a young potato, new. These are red skin, so I boiled them, cooled them, and then I'm gonna smash them for later. This is the only thing in the box that you might not have enough for 2 meals for, but we all got potatoes. Cilantro, if you don't like cilantro, and I know a lot of y'all have that weird made up thing where you don't like cilantro, you can use basil. That's also fine. And then I have minced ginger, garlic, and some jalapeno. So for the ginger, I'll just show you real quick. You can either, I'm gonna scoot over here. You can either cut or peel it, or a lot of people use a spoon, but just want to take the skin off, and you're going to just use a microplane or the fine side of a box grater and just grate it, and you're going to get the pulp and juice. It's going to be really bright and really fragrant this way because it's just all surface area, and it'll be nice and spicy too. And then you get all that on the back and just kind of tap it to on your cutting board. Anyway, so that's how I got, there's your ginger, easy peasy. Get a microplane, it's a great thing. So I ended up, because this garlic was rather mature, I just went ahead and cut open the bottom of some of these and used the garlic from this, just minced, and I have that here as well. For the jalapenos, I recommend you can use a jalapeno, a habanero, serrano, a hot pepper. I like, and so you just want to cut the seeds and the ribs out, because that's, depending on how spicy you like it. If you like it really hot, this is going to be a really quick curry, so it's not going to have a lot of time to cook out really, really hot flavor. So anyway, you're just gonna, I cut it in half, and then, with a sharp knife, just kind of roll along, careful of your fingers, and take out those seeds and also that white rib, because that's going to be a lot of heat. And then just julienne, which is just long strips, slices, and then crosswise to mince your jalapeno. And because, I'm learning how to do virtual cooking demos and stuff, I already have some done, because I'm cool like that now, kind of. Anyway, so, yes, full prepared. Okra, yeah, just slice however thick you want. Mustard greens, so you got in your top box, your mustard greens were probably very long. Mine were too. I just cut the very bottom off. Those are great for, you can use the whole thing for braising, but I'm gonna use mostly the top. You can also pull the stem out, just so this cooks fast. I like to grip it and just kind of tear up. And, again, that can go in braising. And then with this part, I just roll it, chop it. I like to chop it again this way once. And then what I just did is, I'll bring it forward. Put them in some water to wash them. When you're washing greens, collards, mustards, whatever they may be, that usually can hide a lot of dirt. So the way to wash greens in general is to have them, the larger volume of water you have, the better. And you want to just kind of agitate them and then allow the dirt to settle to the bottom. A mistake a lot of people make is taking this and then pouring the water off, but then you're pouring all the dirt that settled on the bottom back through the greens. So what you want to do is take these greens and I agitated them and then lift them, so all not disturbing that dirt that's at the bottom, and pull them up and out and into something else. Now for a salad, obviously you could use a salad spinner. I just have a little towel in the bottom of this. If there's a little water in this, it's gonna be okay. Again, this is at more than twice the amount of mustard greens that I'm gonna use for this actually, but now you have something for the next time. So again, if you don't like mustards, that's lame, but you can use collards, kale, whatever kind of green you want. Mustard, I think, is a nice in-between because you don't have to cook it for very long. It can wilt really fast. It's really spicy and interesting, and in season right now and affordable. Okay, so now one other thing that I have that I didn't mention in the ingredients I have is, if you have it around, I like to use, but if you don't, it's not a big deal. But it's just some cardamom pods. A few of those add a really nice element to this dish as well. If you have it, if not, no big deal. The rest of the stuff we'll get back to afterwards. So let's start to assemble this, the curry. Any questions so far? I'm going to start moving some things around to the other side of the kitchen. I'm going to bring, you're going to need I'm going to start with okra, the tomatoes and the mustard greens, the minced garlic, ginger, and jalapeno, the cardamom. I have my can of coconut milk here as well. Another thing, sorry, real quick about coconut milk. Sometimes this one we have is really thick. I poured out a little into a separate container and just mixed a little water in it. But as you can see, it's really thick. It varies depending on the brand, depending on the fat content and how they manufacture it, or how they produce it. This, I just added a little water because it was pretty solid. It separates, but anyway, I added a little water just to get a more, an easier, more consistent, consistency. But anyway, so, what's that? Yeah, okay, what I'm gonna be bringing to the other side to get started for the curry is the okra. Pretty much everything except for the fish and potatoes is going to be in this curry. So I'm going to bring it over there. Kyle, if you want to talk a little, I will.
Of course.
Move some things to the other side of the kitchen, and then I'll tell you what I got.
So I had a question from one person. Let me see if I can pull that question back up. And it was from So and Nick. Is the recipe to follow so we know the amounts? Yes, it is. Although, like she said before, the recipe can actually be cut in half. A lot of recipes that chefs use are normally for 2 people to eat off of, sometimes even for a family of 4 to eat off of. So depending on how much you actually want to partake in yourself, if you're a single person, the size of the fillets, use half of it. If you want it for 2 people or 2 days, you can do the whole fillet. That box relatively could last me maybe 1 week off of eating, just from the amount of ingredients that are in it. So top box, you have done a wonderful job on this box. I appreciate it. Chef Martha, this recipe is beautiful. It's to die for, and I cannot wait to dig in. And let's just get cooking. I'm ready for it when y'all are. So as she's moving stuff over, I want to talk more about the guest chef night. Guest chef night originally started, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, where we'd have different local chefs come to Liberty's Kitchen, and they partner up with students and some alumni and do a beautiful 3-course dinner at night. And it was magnificent. The students got the chance to experience what it was like to cook with executive chefs who not only loved the city, but represented the city and its cuisine so well. And it's so heartbreaking that we can't do it in person right now, but I'm so happy we're finding an alternative way around that. Chef Martha Wiggins is a phenomenal chef. I've read about her history from when she was at Sylvain in her quarters for about 7.5 years to now at the Elysian bar. I must say, whenever she does any type of cuisine, I want to learn it. I want to know it because it's teaching me things that I've never thought of doing. It's showing me techniques I haven't done yet, but it's also giving me that reassurance that even the craziest ideas can make the fabulous dinner so much better. So Chef Martha, thank you for your inspiration. Your weirdness is my muse of creativity.
Thanks, Kyle. I mean, if you could learn anything from me, it's how to be a weirdo. Somebody asked if you could use warm coconut milk. I don't even know if you mean like not refrigerated or if it's actually hot. Either way, I think it'll be fine. The most important thing, and again, I might not succeed at this live on camera, so I'm rolling the dice, but you know, that's life, is that trying to get working it into a smooth consistency in your broth. We'll see what happens. One of the biggest things that we learn to do as cooks is how to go with the flow and fix, you know, there's really nothing in a kitchen that's not fixable, you know, especially when you learn from as being a young cook and going through trial and error or working with young cooks who will do things that you couldn't imagine were possible in ways to mess something up. You have to be able to fix that, and you have to be able to fix it quick. So we can get that food out to the guests properly, or at least in a way they won't notice, and still enjoy. So anyway, let's scoot on over to the other side. I got,
And Chef Martha, I had another question pop up. Do you soak your okra to get the slime out, was the question.
I do not. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is, when we go over is, I'm gonna start, I got my pan getting warm. So I don't soak my okra. I also really love okra in any way, shape, or form, slime and all. But when I cook okra in the restaurant, I will always start the dish I'm sauteing with the okra on its own, kind of frying, or I'll pan fry it and add it to it. So for this, and that helps get rid of that slime factor. So for this dish, I'm gonna start this curry with the okra. Typically I would start it with the aromatics, the garlic, the ginger, and so on and so forth. But because I'm using okra, I'm gonna start with the okra to make sure that that hits the pan and gets a nice sear and brown first. And it should be about, so the amount of ginger I have, it should be about 2 tablespoons, roughly. I like a lot of ginger. The amount that I have on the plate over there, I'll show you, is probably enough for, I'm only gonna use half. It's enough for 2 of these dishes. So let's go on over and I'll show you what I mean about the okra. I'm going to bring towel.
And as she's transitioning, I do wanna make this note. Every recipe that a chef creates is always adjusted by the person that's cooking. And what I mean by that is, if you want more ginger, more spice, more sweetness, or more acidic to your food, you can personally add it yourself and adjust as you go. You never want to start off too heavy on certain spices or certain ingredients, because that will overpower the dish and that will make the dish come out completely different than how you want it. So just that small fact can make you a great chef from an average chef.
Yeah, none of this, I mean, the more you cook and the less pressure you put on yourself for it to come out perfect, the better it's gonna come out. You know, it's gonna taste delicious no matter what. We're gonna plate it. It's gonna look great, you know, regardless.
What kind of pan are you using?
Right now I have it's just a aluminum pan. This is gonna be so now we're starting to curry it. It's just an aluminum pan. I'm trying to use the pans with the most potential to stick. I'm trying to give myself as many odds to fail as possible on live Zoom, so that you feel better if you fail, because it's very likely that I will as well. So anyway, therefore, I'm not using a nonstick. I'm using an aluminum pan. It's pretty hot. I turned the hoods off so you can hear me. So sorry, Michelle, if I choke you out. All good. So anyway, I got my pan hot. There you go.
That's a little too
Water
hot
is
there,
a
Chef.
squeeze bottle. Yeah, make sure you dry your squeeze bottle really well before you add oil into it. So you don't do what I just did, which is have a clear up. Anyway, anyway, just gonna let that. I'd say like 2 tablespoons of oil or so. All right, now that all the danger is gone, gonna put it back on pretty high heat. And again, I'm gonna start with the okra. That way, I get a good sear on it, and then that will really help it just be really savory and tender and not slimy. Anyway, so in goes the okra.
So, Chef, while that's actually sauteing and cooking off, what made you want to get into the kitchen? What made you step foot into the kitchen knowing it is one of the most exhausting jobs, but one of the most heartfelt jobs to ever have?
I'm crazy and weird. I think you definitely have to be, either have to love it or be crazy, or both, I think. I'm both. And I love, I started working in kitchens and, as like a short order cook at a deli. And while I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do, and then I continued working in kitchens as I grew up, but I didn't know that's necessarily what I was going to do professionally, but it was what I could do. And eventually I realized, oh wow, this comes natural to me in some way or another, whether it's ancestral, I don't know, it's in my bones and it makes sense to me. I feel very at home and very comfortable in the kitchen when I do things. And again, this is not to toot my own horn, but sometimes when I do things for the first time, without knowing how to do it, something in me is kind of guiding me. And I think everybody has their own version of that, whether it's music, writing, math, art, so on and so forth. For me, it's cooking. So once I realized that I'm good at it, I said, okay, I'm going to keep doing this because it's fun to be good at stuff. And then it really wasn't until Chef Alex left Sylvain, where I was his sous chef, and about 6 months into my career as executive chef, that I realized I might actually also be good at this. I might actually also have talent, which I'm still figuring out. But I know I can cook. So anyway, I got okra going. It's getting a little color on it. Gonna let that, and I just give it a hug after it's gotten a good sear on one side.
And now, for those that are at home watching, I do want to give Chef Michelle her props for being there with Chef Martha Wiggins. Chef Michelle started off as a pastry chef, actually teaching in the back of the school with the students. And ever since then, she's always been involved more in depth in just trying to get the Liberty's Kitchen brand to grow up into the gorgeous flower it is. Hi, Chef.
Hi, everyone.
I'm definitely going to give her props. And she's like holding a laptop right now and doing a great job.
Very, very excited for you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. All right, let's see what this okra looks like.
Of course.
So I also have, so now if you have, again, I'm going to add the aromatics. I'd like to, I want to add a little bit of the cardamom, just like 3 pods or so. And I like to add, typically, again, I'd add the garlic ginger first because I like it to get toasted in the oil. I like to add those kind of ingredients and aromatics like that before I add things that have a lot of moisture, which is going to be like the tomatoes and the mustard greens. The okra is the wild card here, so it's going in first. So now I'm going to add the aromatics, and which are, I'm only going to use about half of this. I have ginger, minced garlic, and jalapeno. And careful, because at this point, because of the moisture in that ginger, it could flare up. And whenever you're adding something that might cause your pan to flare up. I like to pull the pan away and add it, just in case it does flame up. I didn't bring a spoon. Hold on 1 second.
So I've actually decided to jump in the kitchen with you. I had my godmother doing it, but I decided I couldn't stand behind no longer and just watch. So I'm actually going to be working this recipe with you. So this is going to be fun.
Hi everyone, this is Mary. I'm just going to read a couple of questions that are popping up in the chat. So we have a question, how much garlic?
About 2 tablespoons of each. On this plate, I mean, I'd say like a nugget of ginger that you grate, that'll give you about a tablespoon, and probably like 2 cloves of garlic minced is fine. I like to think a clove of garlic per person eating. But again, a little more, a little less, depending on what you like. To some extent, the more the merrier. But again, neither way. If you're off by a tablespoon or whatever, it's not going to make or break this dish. But you know, it's all about personal preference. But don't trip too much over amounts.
And the second question is, what are your thoughts on only cooking 1 fillet for 2?
What are my thoughts on what?
Cooking 1 fillet for 2 people, I'm assuming.
In the box, I'll get to that in a minute. When I pull out the fish, and I'll go over that. It'll be easier to do when I have it in my hand, and I'll show you that. But I will come back to that. So now I have the okra, cardamom, ginger, garlic, jalapeno in there, and now I'm going to add a curry powder because I like that as well. Any others, dry spices to put in to toast a little bit. This is 2 teaspoons, I believe you had in your top box. Any curry powder you like is fine. I always go to Hong Kong market and I get a different one every time. And it's really interesting. So really any curry that you like is great. Whether it be, Indian or Thai or West African or West Indian. So adding the curry powder, and now I'm going to add the tomatoes. And again, they have a lot of water, so be careful because you have hot oil in your pan. This could be where it may flare up. So again, I pull the pan away, and then I bring it out. And now I'm going to be on a high heat because I've added something with a lot of water.
Chef Martha, I have a question.
Yes.
What actually interests you to not only do this for tonight's dinner, what actually interests you to actually work with young people rather, and be a mentor for them in this industry?
Working in kitchens and managing kitchens, largely your staff and are going to be younger people. And I think it's really important. I had a lot of great mentors coming up. I still have great mentors that continue to develop me all the time. Assistance and development, and it's not easy. It would be easier sometimes to work with people who are extremely passionate and disciplined and this was their career choice and whatever, but I don't have the desire. I would rather work with someone who's not sure, and there's a lot of things and hacks you can learn through cooking. One, you have a skill, so you can get a job, but I think it's just a lot more rewarding to work, or for me personally, it's a lot more rewarding to work with younger people who haven't figured out and just might not be what they want to do. But it's to know how to cook and to feed yourself is an extremely useful tool, especially if you're poor. And at one point in our lives or another, we will all be broke, I'm sure. So to be able to know, say in this COVID, this pandemic, I've been really glad that I know how to actually cook for myself. When I go to the grocery store and I see people in line, particularly men, no offense, but with just a whole thing full of frozen pizza, and I'm like, God damn, like, you know, one, you're gonna get bored, and two, that's expensive, and three, like, huh? Yeah.
Does the green garlic go in with that?
What's that?
Does the green garlic go in now?
Green garlic.
No green garlic
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
All right, so what I'm, to go back to, since I need to move through this, is I got the tomatoes sauteed in there, the spices are all toasty. I'm also gonna season, for the first time, just salt, just kind of season it. Okay, now I'm gonna add my mustard greens, and again, I'm not gonna use all of these, but fill your pan. You're gonna wilt down quite a bit. You can tear them as needed. Probably about half of this.
We had another question come up about the fish. Is it the proper time to start seasoning and preparing it? Or is it coming up later time?
About time to what?
Season the fish.
No, the only thing you could, if you want, I'm gonna kind of treat it as we're gonna go through this together. And at that time, if there's any questions like, or I'm moving too fast, let me know. But I'm kind of trying to do it with you guys so that it's more realistic. And again, if there's anything at that time that you need me to stop and go over, we'll do. But right now the fish is just chilling. It is on paper towels, but I'll give you time to do that yourself as well. So I'm gonna season the greens as well. And again, you can use, I like to cook with tongs. But again, depending on how delicate your greens are, which mustards are not, so I can use tongs. If I was using spinach, I really wouldn't want to use tongs, just because it would really break it down and bruise it. So those, see how quickly those wilted in there? The only other thing you might need at this time, and if you thinned it out, it's not going to be a big deal. It's just a small amount of water, about like a cup, just to kind of play with the consistency of this sauce.
So I have a Phil Wiggins. He asks, the okra looks burned. Is the okra burned?
It is not burnt. It has, that's my father, by the way. It has curry powder on it that is toasted. Anyway, I'm gonna have my coconut milk now. You'll see. And again, it's been thinned out. You're cracking Michelle up. She's gonna drop this. And I have a can. I thinned it out. Probably gonna use about half of this can. Wow. So pour that in, and then we're just gonna mix it. And at this point, that's more or less it. And it didn't really need any more water. And the broth has, the coconut milk has gone into that smoothly. And then just taste at this point. I'm gonna shut the heat off and just taste for salt. But anyway, we're just gonna leave this in the pan.
So the question was about how much milk, and I know you said approximately half the can, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because I have a few comments going back and forth, trying to figure out the measurements. Chef Michelle, how does it smell over there? Because you get all the action right now in the aroma. So give everybody who's not actually in the kitchen right now, let them know the fragrance.
I'm very lucky to be being video producer for the first time in my life and being able to smell even through this mask. But it smells really good. I can't wait to try it. Do I get to try it? Absolutely. All right.
Okay, let's go back over to the other side of the kitchen. And we're gonna talk about those fish.
So as they're in transition to the other side of the kitchen, I do want everybody to know Liberty's Kitchen does host tours of its facility once it's back open. If you'd like to schedule a tour to figure out where all the magic happens, from Liberty's Kitchen Catering to also the incredible lessons that the students learn, the beautiful tech lab they have, or even rent out some of the space that we have in the back for just a private party. You can always get in touch with, I want to say, Miss Michelle or somebody at Liberty's Kitchen to find out more information. But it's definitely a privilege to not only know the staff, but it's also a privilege to be able to have such an incredible staff devoting themselves to the young students and the young people of this city. So I'm completely and forever grateful to all of them, the founders, of course, and Judge Kelvin, who is my personal friend, who's on right now. Y'all have all been a blessing in my life, and y'all continue to be a blessing. So thank you all.
Thanks, Kyle. I know you weren't talking about me right now, but all right, so here's the fish. We have redfish. Now, in your top box, it's in, I believe it's vacuum packed in a plastic bag. So the biggest thing, and because the fish, if you had it from top box, and a lot of the fish, honestly, that you get at the grocery store is going to be previously frozen, whether it's flash frozen on a boat. A lot of times you might be handling fish that, you know, may be previously frozen. And the one drawback of that is just the moisture content when you're sauteing fish. So first I just want to talk about the fish fillets themselves. So this is the fillet as it came out of the package from Top Box. It looks as, I think they took out a lot of the bloodline that was on the top, and the bloodline goes right in between here. You'll see it on the back. And that's where the blood goes through. So that oftentimes in the restaurant we'll take out, which I did on another fillet, just because it has that kind of irony flavor. It's not absolutely necessary. Some fish have a more predominant and larger bloodline than others. Redfish is kind of in the middle. This is also not an extremely huge fillet, so the bloodline isn't as developed, and it won't potentially you know, change the flavor of the fish too much, but I just was going to demo both. So this is with the bloodline removed, which all I did was, and I'm not going to do it on this one, but I just took my knife and came in on one side of the fish and separated that, and then went and took it out the other side and got rid of it. For the sake of showing you how I believe this fish is enough for, at least in our preparation, and especially if you're having multiple courses, which you may or may not, whatever. I'm gonna cut it in half this way. And also because you also wanna think about the size of your pan. If you don't have a pan that is as long with at least an inch or so on either side of your fillet, you might wanna change, you know, you can cut your fish down to how it's gonna work for you in your kitchen at home. So assuming you don't have a really large skillet, if you do, great. If not, I'm just going to cut this in half and make it 2 portions, and then save this. We'll have this for a whole other meal, or for dinner tomorrow, or again, if you want to make it as well. So I'm going to cook these 2 as the 2 portions for our demo. So the only thing that you want to do, or the best thing you can do to help success of it not sticking in the pan, especially if you're not using non-stick, is to make sure it's super dry. Again, when it, especially if it's been previously frozen, it's going to absorb water from the have a lot of water in the meat, more so than if it had never been, because of the ice crystals that formed when it was frozen. So really just keep it dry by having some paper towels on it until you're ready for it to hit the pan. That being said as well, again, I'm not going to season this fish. If I put salt on it now, it's going to draw up moisture and the surface is going to get wet again, which will cause it to stick. So I'm not going to put salt and pepper on this fish until it's about to go in the pan. So that's the fish, setting it aside for a second. And then you have the potatoes. So these are new potatoes that are boiled and cooled. This one, I have 3 little guys and then 1 big one. So I'm just going to cut this guy in half. or no, wait. So what I'm gonna do to smash them is just use 2 plates, and this never ends up as cute as I imagine it in my mind. It's gonna be this beautiful sunflower potato, but it looks a lot better after you fry it. So it doesn't look that great when you first do it. Don't trip, it's gonna be all right. So take a potato, put it down, and I'm just gonna use the other plate and just till I hear it kind of crack, and it'll usually stick to one side, and then just slide it off. So I have a smashed potato. That's gonna allow some surface area. The inside of the potato, it's gonna give us more crispiness and a prettier brown color than just say putting this in as it is, which you would just get a kind of toasted skin. So just gonna do that again, until you just hear it crack. You don't want to obliterate it. If you do, again, fried potato is gonna taste good. Anyway, so yeah, sometimes it might break a little. That's fine. Just keep those, try to keep it as intact as you can, but everything is fixable. And then this is the last one. Here's a big one, and those are sometimes more likely to fall apart. So I'm just gonna set these on a plate. I have, no, same, potatoes are also not gonna be seasoned until I'm about to put them in the pan. So what I have here is potatoes, and I have my fish drying. All I'm gonna need is butter, salt, pepper, oil, and the green garlic. Green garlic, again, for this, I have it here, taste it. If it's too tough, then we'll save it for something else. But again, this batch I have is a little bit more mature. So all I did to get this was just slice it very thin. And again, that's what I have here. And I'll review it when I get to that side. But anyway, I'm gonna gather the potatoes and the fish on the other side of the kitchen. This would be a great time to do a little cocktail break or demo with the turning tables folks while I get set up over there. And I'll tune back in a second.
Chef Martha, before you go.
Yeah.
The second part that we're about to do, is that going to be all in one pan, or should people have separate pans for the potato and the fish?
That's a very good question. Let's have separate pans. You could do it in one pan, and if I was doing it in a restaurant, I'd probably do it in one pan just because we have, only so many burners and we're working several orders at a time. But for the sake of, ease and comfortability and not having to switch it out really quick, let's just go ahead and have 2 pans about the same size. I have, the ones I have over there are a little smaller than the one I did the curry in. So 2 pans, nonstick if you have is fine. As long as it's large enough to fit the fish fillet, that's really all. That's really all you need. As far as the oil that I have, and another thing that's helpful to use is to use a squeeze bottle. I think people at home can really benefit from keeping their oil, olive oil, or vegetable in a squeeze bottle because it's easier to control. When we're working, to hold a giant bottle of oil and try to carefully pour in a certain amount is pretty difficult and not really realistic. So a great tip is to just keep it in a squeeze bottle. You can do a lot less, and you can control it a lot better. So on the other side, I have a mix of half olive oil and half canola oil. You can use either for both of these things. For cooking fish, I like to use regular vegetable oil or a blend because it has a higher smoking point. I'm gonna need this oil to be ripping hot to sear this fish, and olive oil will smoke more and burn a little faster. But if that's all you have, that's totally fine. We're also gonna use butter and green garlic. 2 tablespoons is fine. I have more than that here. I'm probably only going to use 2 or 3 of these little pieces, depending on how much fish. It's really for a small amount of sauce to go over this. The one other thing you're going to need over there is some lime. And I'm going to save part of this for the garnish, but some of it is going to go into the green garlic butter. I like to, with all citrus, cut around the core. That way you eliminate the seeds. We call these in the kitchen speed limes or speed lemons, because we can squeeze it and there's no seeds. All the seeds are in this part, which is also great to juice as well. But I'm gonna bring this with me because that's gonna go in the green garlic butter. Any other questions before we split to the cocktail demo?
I believe that's all of them for right now. So y'all want to get started with the little cocktail demo? I'm sure that would be a nice little smooth transition for us.
My name is Andryan from Liberty's Kitchen and Turntables, and I'm going to be demonstrating to you on how to make a cold brew old fashioned using River Basin rye, Jaeger, cold brew, and a house-made spiced pear syrup. First, you're going to be using 1.5 of your River Basin rye, 3/4 of your Jaeger cold brew, and 0.5 of your house-made spiced pear syrup, and 1 dash of Angostura and orange bitters. Add some ice. Give it a stir. You're just going to stir it until the outside of the glass is cold. Strain it. Garnish, give it a little twist. With your ice. And that is your cold brew old fashioned. I'm a graduate of Liberty's Kitchen, of Turning Tables, and I also got the pleasure of working with Top Box. If you have any questions about the cocktail, I'll let you go.
One more. Yeah, I ain't messing with it.
All right, I don't know about y'all, but that drink looks beautiful. And compared with this dish that we're making right now, I'm sure it will
This
be
is too fast. I didn't know.
Oh, my hair.
I'm gonna see if we have a possible way of freezing that in the background for y'all what the recipe was.
Okay. Are we back?
We're back and ready for you.
All right. So let's head on over to the other side of the kitchen. One thing I wanted to mention that I didn't add to the curry was cilantro or basil. You can just throw that in. I really want it to be at the end so it doesn't get cooked too much. And also a landing space for your crispy potatoes. So I have that, just a paper towel on a plate.
So as she's en route, I want to say thank you, Turning Tables, for that beautiful cocktail demo. I'm sure a lot of us is going to enjoy that in a few minutes. If you don't have the recipe, I know Ms. Mary attached it to the comments box or the chat box. So check over there in the chat box and download the recipe so you can start making those cocktails for yourself. Back to you, Chef Martha.
Awesome. So for the potatoes, I have 2 pans here, and one of them happens to be nonstick. If you have a nonstick, the potatoes are a great way to, if you want to, if you have a nonstick, use it for the potatoes. And then this is the pan I'm going to use for the fish. So they're both about the same size. We're going to do the potatoes first. So I'm just going to heat oil again. I keep forgetting I put a bunch of water in this oil. So for for entertainment. Heat my oil. And I just have the smashed potatoes here. I'm gonna season them in the pan just because with salt and pepper. And you wanna make sure your oil is pretty warm. Again, so you can establish the sear on those and not have them stick.
So, Chef Martha, if you don't want to use the new potatoes that you have in the basket, would you recommend like fingerling potatoes, Idaho, Yukon Golds, or just any potato in general?
If you want to do them this way, any small potato that you can kind of, that's small enough that you could smash it kind of thin, would be ideal. So fingerling would also work great, but fingerling are such a nice, pretty shape on their own. You could also use a larger potato, cut it and smash it, would also give you the same effect. But I like the idea of having one whole potato smashed so that it's, you get the skin and the potato flesh hitting the pan at the same time. So I got them in here, and now I'm gonna hit them with some salt and pepper.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you at any point have questions about what the chef is doing, need a bit more information on what steps you went over, you can easily write in the chat box. Myself, Miss Mary, are both monitoring it, and also Mr. Dennis, who is online, is giving me heads up on certain things that I'm missing as well. So feel free to ask questions throughout this tutorial. Again, we thank you all for coming to this guest chef night. This is the first ever virtual. Hopefully we can do more along the lines, but we're just gonna hand over back to Chef Martha.
Right, so one great tool to have at home as well as, and a lot of people don't have, is tongs are great. They also give you this much distance from your hand or a small spoon or whatever to the hot oil or pan or whatever you're dealing with. So they're really great, and we use them constantly on the line. Also for things that are delicate, like fish, this is a fish spatula, so it's made particularly to flip fish because it's kind of in the shape of a fillet, so you can flip it without it breaking. But it's also would be great for these, which are kind of delicate and fall apart. So I'm going to use the fish spot to flip these potatoes and get a nice brown on the other side. And my pan is pretty hot, so it's not going to take very long.
Maybe 3 minutes on each side, you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. 3 minutes on each side. While that's working, I'm going to start getting my pan for the fish hot. Nope. Not there. Oh, also, here's the cilantro that I forgot. I'm just going to put it right on top of this curry, which is just in the pot, in the pan. Again, the burner is off.
So we have one person saying they're a little behind because their stove isn't getting that hot. And we also have, Mom, this is so cool. I wish Chef could help every night. Thank you. So for those who are a little bit behind, it's okay. Again, you can always ask questions in the chat box. I myself can help you catch up to speed. And also Chef Martha, who will probably go back over a few steps as she gets closer to plate up, will be able to tell you what she did, where she did it, and how to go forward. The butter has yet to go in yet, Ms. Brooks, so you are moving a little bit too fast for us. Chef Martha, you still there?
And again, I'm doing this, everything I have, again, I've done this before. I'm doing this for the sake of, demoing and everything, but if you're, just don't get frustrated. Again, it's just food and it's just cooking, and we're gonna get there. And if you have any questions, I will answer them. It's gonna be great regardless. So I'm just browning these potatoes, and I think they're probably pretty good on the other side. So I'm just gonna cut the heat off. I'm gonna leave them in there, and then when I'm ready to plate, I'm gonna take them out and dry them on the potatoes. That way on the paper towels. That way they stay hot and they'll continue to get crispy. So for you guys at home, I think one of the biggest things is turning your fan on is great on your hood. Your burners probably don't get as high as fast. They're not as large. They won't get as hot as fast. So really give your pan some time to get very hot. I'm going to add my oil now because my oil has water in it. So I want to get that out before I put it on the flame. And I'd say about 2 tablespoons, 1 to 2 of oil is fine.
So for those who are probably trying to figure out the amount of oil that Chef has been using the whole time, she's just using barely enough to coat, which is why she keeps saying 2 tablespoons worth. You just want to get a small little coat to where you can see a light shininess in your pan. So that way, you know, once you see the smoke coming off or a little bit of smoke, your pan is starting to heat up. So always enough to coat.
Yeah, what's enough to coat. What's more important, even the amount of oil you're using, is getting it very hot. If you're a little shy on the oil, that's fine. Lesser is better than more in this. We're not frying this, we're just sauteing it. In fact, I'm gonna pour out a little. But just making sure it's hot. You'll see when your oil's really hot, it'll do these kind of stripes down the, when it moves around the edges of your pan. It'll run down in these lines instead of just coating it. So I have my fish here. Now I'm gonna season it. My oil's hot with just salt and pepper on both sides. And be careful with these fillets because they were previously frozen. The fibers are kind of separating a little bit. Anyway, so I will use my hand. I have this in my hand again because this is very hot oil. I'm gonna pull and it has the potential to flare up. Pull the pan away. If you're worried, you can turn your flame off. So anyway, also, as you can see, this is the side that it's gonna go down. This is the back. That's gonna be, this is the presentation side. So you wanna do presentation side down. And it looks like this. Again, the back looks like that. That's not the side you want to hit the pan first. Presentation side on any protein goes down first because you're gonna establish a really nice sear, it's a really nice color, and that's gonna be flipped and presented up on the plate. I'm gonna take my glove off. Anyway, so I'm just gonna put my fish down. And again, it's not sticking because my pan is super hot. And you can kind of shake it around to make room for the other fillet. Forgot to season this side. Just salt and pepper. Just salt and pepper. And I give it a little shake in the beginning just to ensure that it's not sticking. If you find that it's sticking a little bit, leave it alone. Let it cook until it gets a nice brown color, and then it's much easier to unstick it with the fish spatula or a spatula carefully, finding where it's stuck, and it's usually just a little piece, rather than immediately trying to, if it sticks when you first put it in, let it be, and deal with it after you get a nice brown color. It'll be much, much easier to get unstuck at that point. But again, if your pan is pretty hot, you're good to go.
Another small tip to making sure your pan is just hot enough, and a lot of my chefs were teaching me this at school. If you have a piece of protein, if you run it slightly over and it does not catch in the oil, then your pan is hot enough. If it catches, then you want to wait a few more seconds until your pan gets actually hotter.
So I like to cook fish mostly one way on the first side because you're really going to get a nice color. Once I add the other, once I flip it, I'm going to turn it off because I don't want to fry it too hard on both sides and dry it out. So it's been about a minute, I'd say, or two. I'm gonna add at this time the 2 tablespoons of butter. That's also gonna help allow get some nice brown color on that. And I'm also gonna add a little bit of green garlic.
So,
Which I left on the other side of the kitchen. I'll be right back.
I got a question from Brooke. Are you talking about the jalapeno pepper or the black pepper? Because the jalapeno pepper went into the curry when she first started sauteing off the okra and also the tomatoes. That part was in the beginning. If you're talking about the black pepper, she has been seasoning throughout with black peppers.
All right, so I've added the green garlic in there. And again, the butter, I'm going to turn the heat down. The butter's going to start to brown. And again, I want that little bit of toastiness and that little bit of brown. It's going to get really nutty.
Yeah, we didn't know where the black pepper or
The black pepper has been getting seasoned throughout the whole mixture. A lot of chefs have a combination of salt and black pepper in the kitchen. Makes it a little bit easier for working on the line. But a lot of people at home try to keep it separated, which is always best because you don't want to have too much black pepper and not enough salt in your food.
So the fish is where I want it. The butter's a little brown. I have the green garlic in there, just kind of softening and toasting it in that butter. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. And flip to the outside of your pan to be careful. You got a really nice brown color.
The lime she hasn't used just yet. She's going to use the lime more towards the
turn
end.
the pan off. So we're pretty much ready to plate now. Let's meet up on the other side of the kitchen to plate up, and I'll show you the finishing touches. I'm going to take my potatoes out and just let them sit on this paper towel. I still have lime that I'm going to add at the end, and I'll meet you guys on the other side.
And as they transition, I do want to make a known factor. May is normally known as Give NOLA Month, which is a month where we donate nonstop to nonprofit organizations to help raise awareness for what they do, but also to give them beneficial cause to keep their programs running. The nonprofit that I support is not only Liberty's Kitchen, but Top Box as well, the Mino Foundation, and Lighthouse of Louisiana. But if you're willing, any amount given to Liberty's Kitchen can help go from a bus token to a student all the way up to a nice set for graduation. Donations always matter, small or big. We love them. We appreciate y'all, and the students really do have the greatest impact because they have an opportunity to truly and flourish and use their talents and their gifts.
Okay, guys, we are ready to start assembling our plate and a plate for two. So, also, when I'm plating a fish prep, we do a fish preparation at Elysian Bar and a lot of other restaurants where it changes every day. We play with it, usually the first one we try what we have in our head, but, we adjust as we go. So, I'm going to kind of be doing the same thing here. I haven't made this dish plated this way before, so I think I'm going to start with the curry on the bottom, which again, I added the cilantro into, and use my tongs. And a lot of people have a bad habit of just pouring things on the plate, and then you end up with potentially more liquid than you need. Control that by adding the solids that are in the sauce first. So I'm going to grab some of these mustard greens, okra, and tomatoes, and pile them in the center or slightly off center.
So as she's plating, I will tell you the trick behind having a professional plate up in your own kitchen at home. The way chefs plate up is always with your protein at 6 o'clock or 12 o'clock, because when you're eating it, you want that to be the first thing that the guest sees. Presentation not only about what the eye sees, but it's also about the fragrances that come off the plate. And what I mean by that, if you have your collard greens facing you directly, you get that nice whiff of the collard greens, mustard greens, or whatever vegetable you have sauteed off. And as you start to go around your plate, all aromas just magically combine and combust into the most beautiful aroma you will ever smell.
Another great thing to use is spoons. We use spoons a lot. We hoard them. We collect them. We're obsessed with spoons. And then you can add a little bit more liquid if you'd like. Now that you know that it's not running all over the plate, it's staying pretty tight, you're good. Next thing I'm gonna do is, I think I'm gonna put my fish down first, actually. I'm gonna take my fish out of the pan, set it up. I like to lean things. Like so. And I'm gonna arrange my crispy potatoes, which are a little hot, so you can use tongs, just around 3 kind of per. And then in my pan, what I have left is this butter. What I'd like to do, it usually is keep this hot. So what I'm gonna do is I have this, just the butter that I sauteed the redfish in with the green garlic, and I'm just gonna take my half a lime and squeeze it in there, and that's gonna give this some nice acidity and balance that the richness of this brown butter. Mix that in. You can also season this as well with a little salt and pepper. So then I'm gonna stir that, it's gonna come together, and then it's not a lot, but it's just enough to grab spoon over the fish and over the potatoes. So if you can see that here, I don't know if you wanna come around this side. Just for the final.
So I have Aran Nunez. I hope I pronounced the first name correctly. She says, mine ain't looking too pretty, but it's never smelled so good in my kitchen. So to everybody that's trying to cook for your first time, don't worry about how it looks, as long as you can make this beautiful dish with the beautiful aroma that chef has
and again, I've done this before. I do this all the time. This is all I do. So, you know, I should be able to make it look pretty, you know, or I'm fired. But you don't have to. And the biggest, like I said, you can rearrange. You have some things in your box that are going to really help you to give this a pretty plate up. So again, it's not perfect. I'm going to wipe the edges. And again, if I control the plating, it's going to be more beautiful. One thing you have, I also took, and again, if you want to, just slice some jalapenos, because I like to heat very thin, and I'm just going to kind of drop a couple around. And another thing you have in your top box, which is always going to make things pretty, is you have the blossom from the green garlic, which is beautiful. And I'm going to just, you see it? I'm going to just pull a couple of the florets and put it on the dish, which is going to be, you know, make it super pretty. And they're tasty as well.
So I have a question about the brown butter, Chef. The brown butter actually came in when Chef was pan searing her fish. She added a dab of butter to bring all the extra flavors from that fish, as well as, Chef, you had put something else in that butter as well, the garlic, correct?
The green garlic. So that's the green garlic butter. You sear the fish while it's still one side down. If you flipped it already, that's fine. You add the butter in there. I pulled the fish out to plate. I added the lime juice to the butter, stirred it, and then spooned that over the top. And this is our finished dish right here. Or two of them, I should say. And again, any questions you have, let me know. But I think that if you're
I must have missed the part with the cilantro.
What's that?
What do you do with the cilantro?
Well, the cilantro went in the curry part, but if you didn't add it in there, it's totally fine to use it as a garnish. It goes in at the very end of the curry anyway, just you know, when the heat is turned off, so it's not a big deal. And it's also an excellent garnish, especially if you don't have these pretty garlic flowers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
The green garlic did come from the flower, or the butt of the flower rather, if you're wondering where that came from. Earlier when Chef started off, she mentioned that the garlic root had garlic buds at the bottom of it. So you just had to peel it back and there was your green garlic.
So all day you have the garlic. Again, this is a more mature. This isn't really technically what you would get as green garlic. Green garlic won't have grown this yet. It'll be this skinny all the way through. But ours do. And they also have the flower and the scape, which is also edible. So for the green garlic, I just sliced this stalk part very thin. I use the garlic in the curry, and then I'm just using the flower as the garnish.
I had another question about the extra lime, Chef. Somebody wants to know what can it do with it.
Well, yes, the extra lime that I've saved on the side is also, I'm just kind of leaving options for garnishing. I squeeze some in the brown butter, but serving it with some is also great for them to put over. It's really nice to have something.
Yeah, I didn't put butter. We were supposed to put butter. Yeah.
Wait, she said I cooked it in the butter. I put it in the pot. But she's supposed to be
in there and stirred it up and then I poured it over the thing. That's what's on it.
Okay. Can I help anybody with anything, or are we ready to hear Harry's band again?
I don't know about you, Chef, but I would love to hear that band while eating this beautiful dish and sipping on that beautiful cocktail that Turning Tables presented with us. Anything else that you want to tell us, Chef, before you go?
No, thank you guys for tuning in to this with me again. This is a very strange time to be in. I hope to do more of these. And like I said, it's just about being flexible, being patient. It's a weird time. And we got to figure this out together. And any way that I can try to give you some of what I know, I'm happy to do it. But we're all learning how to do this as we go and all kind of making it up as we go. I'll be going back to work very soon at the Elysian bar. We're just starting our takeout program. We're starting very slowly, management only, with very strict and strange guidelines that I've never had to, never experienced before in 15 years of cooking. We have to take each other's temperatures when we enter the kitchen, very few amount of people allowed at once. We all have to get tested regularly and provide our results. But I'm happy that we're doing it that way and we're being very safe. Otherwise, they wouldn't have felt as comfortable as they do about going back to work. So anyway, we go live on Thursday. So I'll be in the kitchen cooking if you guys want to order some food. I'm also doing breakfast with Spitfire Coffee on Wednesdays, typically excluding today. Thursday and Sunday, and you can order through spitfire.com, breakfast sandwiches, grits, and batch lattes and cold brew. I think that's all I got, and I'm super excited to be the first virtual guest chef. Does that mean I'm not really here, my ghost? All right, I love you guys. Thank you for joining, and your cute babies, I see you. And look, Daddy, the okra's not burnt. I did good, okay?
You have a lot of thank you comments rolling in. The dish is beautiful. It tastes great. I love the Elysian bar. Everybody is so happy with this dish tonight, Chef. Everybody's loving it. I want to personally say thank you for not only what you do for Liberty's Kitchen, but also your work with the Mino Foundation. You're a phenomenal chef, a phenomenal woman, and I'm happy to have met you. And I honestly couldn't ask for a better dish besides the salmon patty cakes that you showed me last week.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kyle. It's always a pleasure to do this with you. I think any other live videos, I always need to have Kyle there, okay? It's going down on my contract. Not that I have one, but I need Kyle there because he's so great to work with. He's so talented, and he really puts me at ease doing something like this. This is just very much out of my element. And Give NOLA Day is June 2nd. You can donate today, but to Liberty Kitchen, also to Mino Foundation, Made in New Orleans Foundation. You can find any info about this on either of our Instagram or Facebook account or on their websites. June 2nd, you can donate today, but June 2nd is Give NOLA Day. And everybody set a goal for donations they're trying to reach. So help us get to our goals. Thank you so much. Woo!
All right, Miss Mary, you could take us off with everything. Again, thank you, everybody. Tonight has been wonderful. You can go ahead, Miss Mary.
Hey! Got a surprise, I could have sworn my eyes were deceiving me, yeah. We're aligned, it's had to be the time for us to link up. Cause when you stepped in my line of sight, you made me wanna be seen, you made me wanna fly, made me wanna go to the highest heights. I can tell the world you're the brightest light. I see the earth in deeper hues, never before until the likes of you. Have I ever thought that dreams really do come true, come true? Waiting my whole life for you to come through at any moment, and I think that you would be the perfect person to share it with. I don't know if we have the same dream in mind. Your energy is so sublime, baby, you're so divine. I'm talking 5-star fine. You are 5-star, 5-star fine. Baby, you blow my mind. 5-star fine. You are 5-star, yeah. Your energy is so sublime, baby, you're so divine. I'm talking 5-star fine. Hope I don't look stupid, hope I don't look foolish, hope I don't survive. Cause after all you could be, you could really be the one that I stay with, that I cherish, that I ride with on this Ferris wheel of life for the rest of our lives. Cause when you stepped in my line of sight, you made me wanna be seen, you made me wanna fly, made me wanna go to the highest heights. I can tell the world you're the brightest light. I see the earth in deeper hues, never before until the likes of you. Have I ever thought that dreams really do come true, come true? I've been waiting my whole life for you to come through at any moment. Hey. I think that you would be the perfect person to share it with. I don't know if you have the same dream in mind. Your energy is so sublime, baby, you're so divine. I'm talking 5-star fine. You are 5-star, 5-star fine. Hey, baby, you blow my mind. 5-star fine. You are 5-star, yeah. Your energy is so sublime, baby, you're so divine. I'm talking, your energy is so sublime, baby, you're so divine. I'm talking, your energy is so sublime, baby, you're so divine. I'm talking, baby, you're so divine. I'm talking, baby, you're so divine. I'm talking, baby, you're so. Say I'm afraid I don't want to be played like a violin, burned to the ground like another act of violence. It hurts so bad that I only sit in silence. If there's a chance like a pain in my heart, I gotta tell you this, so trick to the art. You gotta claim both the light and the darkness, so only take it good and get it bad a la carte. Hey, heartbreak never breaks even, but that don't mean that I gotta stop believing. Gotta hold my head up, gotta sit my chest out, gotta know what I'm about. Sometimes life can be tragic, living as a hopeless romantic. I know of love you're so afraid, but you gotta do it anyway. Way. alright. That's alright. Alright. Y'all people got me hot. Hey. Yeah. People got me hot. Yeah, 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 yeah. Woo! Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, that's exactly what your people came for. You throw shots from afar, I'ma meet you at your front door. It's so hard to be doing what you really meant for, beauty. Not gonna make it look easy, gonna make it look good. Hey yo, you drink the phone, now let me come on. What I'm supposed to do now? And you talk, get all that shit, now come on. You gonna have to back it up. Hey, if I get too high now, sugar, come on, I'ma never come down. You might not ever come down. Oh, let me get down, yeah. You might not ever come down. Oh, let me get down, 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 down. Hey. Might not ever come down. One your head down. I said you might never ever come down. It took too long to get this high off the ground. Don't run, just stay wild. Can't beat it, can't beat it, can't beat it, can't beat it with the big back door. Can't see it what you pitch like, who's your face on. Let me take the bitches off, let me get the post go. Full screen HD, let me take another picture, let me put a re-show. Cool beans, is a whole lot of reason. Let me help you with the pre-roll. You drink up all my liquor, come on. What I'm supposed to do now? And you talk, get all that shit, now come on. You gonna have to back it up. Hey, if I get too high now, shit, come on. I'ma never come down. Hey. You might not ever come down. Oh, let me get down. Yes, I need. You might not ever come down. Oh, let me get down, 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 down. Say. You might not ever come down. Let me get down. I say you might never ever come down. It took too long to get this high off the ground. Don't run, just say why. You might never ever come down. It took too long to get this high off the ground. Don't run, just say why. Bring it down, y'all. Bring it down. 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 Let's bring it up, y'all. Bring it up. Bring it up, y'all. Bring it up. Bring it up, y'all. Bring it up, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Thank y'all. Hi, I am Will Howard. Yes, that's me, and I sing and write. And what else I do?
Yeah. You play the ukulele?
I play the ukulele and the keys. So yeah, I am the Will of the Will and the Foxhounds. Nice to meet you.
Hey, I'm Logan, bass player and trumpet player for Will the Foxhounds.
Hi, I'm Nicole and I'm on vocals.
Hey, I'm Harry, I play drums.